Hello. At a time when we're celebrating mothers, there are some women who have complicated pregnancies, in part due to racial inequities. A local filmmaker tackles the high infant mortality rate locally and nationally. He's here to share highlights and hope from his movie, along with one of the mothers featured in the film. Plus, can movement lead to healthier lives? My guests today say yes, and they will tell us all about somatics and where you can take classes. So pull up a chair and meet us at the corner. Intersection starts right now. Hello, I'm Lisa Smith, Director of Community Impact at KDKA Plus and the host of Intersections. Well, Mother's Day is an annual celebration of our family matriarchs, the women who raised us and gave birth to us. But more and more attention is being given to the plight of some experiences when giving birth, especially women of color. It's the focus of a documentary by Pittsburgh filmmaker Emmai. He is a four-time Emmy Award winning film director and photographer. He is the vice chair of the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, and he worked on the Book of Hove exhibit in New York, which is all about rapper Jay-Z. And also, his latest project is the Ebony Canal, which looks at the high rate of infant mortality among African Americans and potential solutions to keep the babies alive. Also joining us is one of the women featured in the film, Mariah Peoples, and welcome both of you to Intersections. So great to have you.
Thank you. It's great for being here, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the topic of this film is really amazing, and it's something that women are dealing with, communities are dealing with. Tell me why you wanted to focus on infant mortality.
Yeah, well, we wanted to focus on infant mortality because, I mean, some of the most alarming rates locally anchored, but this is a national story. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people know me for really my advocacy work and my allyship, you know, whether it's the deaf community, whether it's mothers who lost their sons due to gun violence, to this new project that really touched my heart as far as being able to put together a film in a very cinematic and romantic way about something extremely serious. The fact that we're losing, you know, our babies 3 times likely than our white counterparts is something that we have to do as far as stepping up as artists to be able to put these stories together in a very, very good way so that we can get what we need to get out of it, because it's going to take all of us for sure. Right,
and you mentioned the statistics, and I want to go ahead and show our viewers at home some of those statistics right now. The March of Dimes had a 2023 report, and the infant mortality rate, like you said, here in Pennsylvania is about 2 to 3 times higher for African Americans. This is according to data from 2019 through 2021, and that bar there on your left shows for Asian Pacific Islanders, the rate is 3.6, for white 4.3, 5.9 for Hispanic, and black 10.6. And then we also have some numbers here in Allegheny County from the Health Department. It's their Bureau of Data Reporting and Disease Control 2020 numbers. Overall in the county, the infant mortality rate is 5.9. For white, it is 4.0. And for black, it is 9.9. So those numbers are really striking.
Very much
right?
so.
But the why behind the numbers is the mothers.
Yes.
So tell me about the mothers who are in this film. Mariah, you're here.
Yes, absolutely, for sure.
So
yeah. So we selected mothers across the nation: Alana Izoli Daly, Rachel Strader, Mariah Peoples. We followed them through their 9 months of pregnancy, but we also followed them through the first year of survival of the baby, which, you know, is how we sort of measure infant mortality, is the survival rate until that first birthday. So we were very, very strategic and meticulous at making sure that we told the truth about it. We showed the realness, we showed the complications, But we also moved to how we're going to develop solutions in order to create a new wave of solutions to move the needle forward, which is one of the reasons why we called it the Ebony Canal.
Yeah.
The ebony being a dark color, and canal is when you connect two bodies of life together. So, you know, when you think about the mothers who are the vessels of this life, it's going to take all of us to really make this happen. And Mariah was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
She's an incredible mom, an incredible portal to life.
Yeah, so Mariah, how did you kind of get involved in, what did Emmai tell you to get you to be part of this documentary?
Well, Emmai did not have to do much convincing. The idea behind this documentary was enough for me to get behind and support wholeheartedly and advocate for. And I'm a big believer in sharing my experiences and being transparent, because you never know how your story could help someone else. So when I found out this opportunity was there, I reached out to him. Emmai told me all about it, and I was like, sign me up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, but this was your first pregnancy, right?
This was my first pregnancy. So my husband and I are we're extremely excited. We were planning for a kid, not as soon as it happened, but we were planning, and we were just overjoyed when we found out. And I'm the baby of the family, so everyone was just thrilled. This is my father's first grandbaby and my mom's 5th grandbaby.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow. So what was this whole process like for you? And were there moments captured that you kind of were thinking, oh, why did I agree to this?
I can definitely speak to that. It probably was the first filming day. And Emmai was like, yeah, we're gonna be coming to the house, and this was after work. I had a day of work, I'm pregnant, my husband had a long day of work, and they're in our house, and we're like having to rearrange things. And I never had so many people and so much equipment. I was like, that's when I was like, well, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
Yeah.
You know, every step of the way it was worth it. It just had to get familiar with having people in your space and having to be transparent in that way. Yeah.
So I want to take a couple of minutes
Sure.
and show the piece that you provided. It's a teaser.
Yes, absolutely.
That deals with one of the moms that's featured, Larissa
Lane, yes.
So let's
Bless her
go
heart.
ahead and show that real
Let's
quick
do it.
so people can see.
The Ebony Canal interview, Larissa Lane, take 1.
Seeing my mom love her children unconditionally. Seeing all the mothers in my life love their children unconditionally. Watching, even when children make mistakes, how mothers still love them and encourage them and still wanted the best for them. That to me was very special. And that was motherhood to me. So I wasn't excited in the beginning, and it took me a long time to get to a place of peace. It took me a really long time to get to a place of acceptance. But once I got to that place, I became excited. Zori was born September 22nd. He was completely fine. I got to see him. They had no concerns. The next day, I got dressed to go to see him. By the time I got down there and they let me see him, they were working on him. And they started pumping his chest. And
I will always love you how I do. Let go of a prayer for you. Just a sweet word.
the doctor,
The table is prepared for you.
he said, I would rather your son pass away in your arms than with us working on him. We have done everything.
Wishing you Godspeed, glory. There will be mountains you won't move.
And that was just one part of the teaser. We're going to actually take a break, and we're going to have more with Emmai Aliquiva and Mariah Peoples. Intersections. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are joined today by filmmaker Emmai Aliquiva and Mariah Peoples talking about the new film Ebony, Canal. And before we went to a break, we showed that clip from the teaser, and there was not a dry eye. Why did you want that to be shown?
I think it's important that we're transparent and we're honest with the storytelling. And Larissa Lane is still a mother. She might have lost her son, but she's still a mother, and I think it's important that we encapsulate that into a film like the Ebony Canal, because it's a part of the journey.
Yeah. Mariah, you know, we talked earlier, and you talked about how it was so important for your husband to be featured and there and present. Why did you want that to be shown?
I wanted that to be shown so that people understand that it takes a village, and that just as much as it's, you know, about mom and baby, that the fathers play a huge role as well, and they also go through their own mental situation through this process. So it's important to keep them in mind.
And we're showing a little bit of the teaser also, which is like at the very beginning. Are these images of the pregnant moms in water. Explain why you wanted that.
I think it's important us as artists to be the gatekeepers of the truth. And metaphorically, when you think of the Ebony Canal, you have to think about this journey. You have to think about the turbulence that moms go through. You have to think of the undercurrents that can suck you in. But we also have to come together as a team to swim so that we can get to our destination at saving babies. And if it wasn't for institutions like the Richard King Mellon Foundation, the August Wilson African American Cultural Center, and everyone that it's going to take to come together as a village to save more Black and brown babies. And that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. Well, the good thing is people may have a chance to see this.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
Yes, at the August Wilson African American Cultural Center, you'll have a chance to check out a screening on July 19th at the August Wilson Center. Feel free to go to the website to get some additional information. Feel free to follow the Ebony Canal on all socials, Instagram, Facebook, and all of the interwebs in order to help us combat these numbers of infant mortality.
Yeah. Well, you did an excellent job based on just what we have seen so far.
Thank you.
And Mariah, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
It's your first one.
Thank you.
Am I the first one to tell you happy Mother's Day?
Someone told me earlier. My nail tech told me earlier. Sorry, Lisa.
Oh, that's okay. Well, listen, thank you both so much for
Thank you,
being
Lisa.
here. and
Thank you.
sharing, and we look forward to what's to come with this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, movements that can help you as you age. Intersections. We'll be right back. Well, if you're concerned about experiencing chronic pain as you get older, there may be a healthy alternative that doesn't involve meds or surgery. IGIA Movement for Health offers classes in hana-somatic practices, and soon those classes will be expanded to additional locations. Joining us to share more details are Gia Castellano. She is the co-founder of IGIA Movement for Health. Harris Ferris is also co-founder and CEO, and Professor Ursula Payne is one of the instructors for the program. Welcome everyone to Intersections.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so, you know, everybody may not be familiar, I'm going to guess, with hana-somatic practice. So tell us, Gia, what exactly is that?
Sure. Well, the IGIA practice was an acronym for Integrative Grounding Intent Alignment. And it draws from multiple somatic practices such as dance, instant composition, somatic practices, somatic clinical practices, martial arts, many different release techniques, things of this nature, which are I've been cultivating them for about 40 years of different practices, and sharing that with people, meditation, pranayama, yoga, lots of different things that are somatic based, in that people can practice these different aesthetics from within. So it's a very much an internal, it's called interoception. So you're really feeling what you're doing from the inside, as well outside, which, the sense of touch, eyes, ears, sensory work. And it's many more things to say about that, but it's very healing practices.
Yeah, so here's kind of what are the benefits, I guess, of doing these practices and these movements?
Well, everybody wants to be pain-free and enjoy moving through life. And sadly, almost half of Americans suffer from some sort of chronic condition. And of course, we're looking at an aging population right now. 17% of Americans are over 65, 10,000 a day turning 65. And we don't believe that aging necessarily requires us to suffer with painful movement. But many of the patterns that people get into during life, and trauma can affect this, situate themselves in the body. And so we can help with the somatic practices, releasing, holding patterns, regaining freedom of movement. And that can affect so many things in one's life when they begin to feel freedom in their movements.
Yeah, because not being able to move can really limit, what you do as you get older. Ursula, tell me a little bit about, you're one of the instructors. What are the classes like, and what's the reaction from some of the participants when they're first starting to experience this?
Sure, I can say the classes, they're very open. And when I say open, I mean we're not trying to get people to do choreography, but you're really trying to do movements where people can approach it from the inside out, and really in an exploratory way. And so that's one of the things that I really love about it, is because people can really, wherever they are, that's where they start. And so, and then from there, they can explore and they can grow. And some of the movements that we're doing are movements that are about the spine, for example. So when you think about the movements of the spine, I think that's one of the, when you think about aging, one of the places where people become rigid is in their spinal mobility, right? And so I think with some of the things I'd like to try to focus on, I really like to work on spinal mobility, also the connection of the limbs, to the spine, as well as movements, reaching, everyday things that people do that engage the body and that help them connect to space. So you think about reaching and grasping, yielding movements, and then also walking, right? And just walking in different ways, walking slowly, walking at a faster pace. And so, but the idea is that it's really giving you a chance to be conscious about, and one of the things that that was really drilled into us in our training is that idea of being intentional, right, about movement and slowing down, because so much of the time it's like we feel like we have to move at a fast pace, right? And so it's that idea of what happens when you just allow yourself to be, and when you allow yourself to kind of close your eyes and begin to just sense where you are in this moment. Where am I today? Yeah. And then how am I moving through my body, and how am I feeling as I'm moving in my body? Because how I feel right now is going to be different than how I felt yesterday or how I'm going to feel tomorrow. And so I think it's a practice that really allows you to hone in on that.
Well, we only have a couple of minutes left, but Harris, one of the things that is significant right now is these classes are expanding, and they're expanding into marginalized communities. Tell me exactly why that is the step that you guys want to take with this.
Well, we're very fortunate to have support from the Henry L. Hillman Foundation with a focus of healthy aging, and specific in minority communities where there may not be as much of a history of working with some of these alternative and complementary medicine approaches. And we're really part of a bigger sphere of lifestyle medicine, which is an emerging field globally. And it is needing to be, we need to have more teachers available to many communities. And we're fortunate that here that we've had a very receptive collaboration with Hill Dance Theater in the Hill District, and also with the Kelly Strayhorn Theater, and then in Newcastle at the Hoyt Arts Center. So there's those 3 locations, and then Vintage Senior Center will also pick up the classes.
Okay, and we have a graphic to show like those classes and the dates and when and how long is each session? It's an hour-long class?
Yep, the duration is about an hour-long class, and drawing from all of those things that I'm also really interested in creating balance. So within choice, you know, so we practice certain breathing, pranayama exercise. We practice, you know, dance, rhythm, you know, but always from a choice of being from the inside, you know, and then but about an hour. We talk a bit as well. Sometimes there's, you know, conversation, focused attention on certain concepts.
Well, thank you all so much for being with us, and there's information on your website, which we will have also on our website as well. Thank you again for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
And I will have my last word when we come back. Mom. Everyone needs a mother or mother figure who helps guide you through or around obstacles in life. She's a teacher, a confidant, a best friend, a sounding board, a nurturer, a counselor, a wisdom giver, and much more. She was an influencer before influencers were a thing. And as we get older, it's amazing how much of these incredible women we tend to see in ourselves, usually before we even realize it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Intersections.